Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. Welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a pretty interesting mini-series that takes place within a crossover. But this story itself has barely anything to do with the crossover. It's called X-Men Second Coming Revelations Hellbound. 3 issues long, written by Yost. Fantastic art. It's a real treat. Harvey, Tolibao, Tom Raney, they really kill it. And I got to mention the colors too. David Ramos. Just an exquisite job. So, what's the deal with this mini-series within a crossover that has barely anything to do with the crossover itself? Well, it focuses on Magik. And Magik is a really cool character. She was on the original New Mutants. Then, early 90s, she dies of the legacy virus. We don't see her for a really long time. They bring her back in the early 2000s. She does a lot of messed up stuff in the relaunch of the New Mutants series during that time. Now she's back on the X-Men. Have the Second Coming crossover where Nimrod and company are gunning after the X-Men, trying to take down Hope, trying to save the future from their perspective of evil robots' perspective. And I think it's William Stryker, who's obviously working with Bastion / Nimrod. They're very strategic. Like they immediately try to take down Magik. They know she's really powerful. They might tip the scales in favor of the X-Men. So they use this weapon that trap her in limbo, which is like the X-Men's equivalent of hell. There's some really good X-Men stories that take place in limbo. Obviously, Magik has a lot of history there. She was kidnapped by the demon called Belasco and was trained there. And her soul has actually been corrupted and she's sort of evil. She tries to keep it in check. She's the sister of Colossus. We actually have a couple of stories that start off with Colossus almost like slamming Cyclops against the wall. It's like, I have to find my sister. And Cyclops says, no, we have more important things to do. And so Cyclops says, look, I'm going to create this task force, send them to Limbo. You can't go because you're all emotional. You're going to be a liability. But he gets this task force up and running. We got Cannonballs on the team, Gambit, Pixie, Marvel was really pushing, at least within the mutant side of the Marvel universe, Pixie as this breakout character, and she was really interesting. Like history with Magik, she really has a bone to pick with her. She's also tied to the Soul Sword. She actually has her own soul dagger. One of the more interesting newer mutants from that time. Then we got this character. His name was Ano. Sorry, that wasn't on purpose. Here he's called a Chameleon, the reptile kid. He's never been too interesting for me. Got Gambit. Now the whole deal with Gambit is that he was a horseman of apocalypse prior to this, and his apocalypse, the horseman part, I think he was death, pops up every once in a while, and this secret from the rest of the X-Men. Then we have North Star is asked to join the team. Here's a really weird thing with North Star during this time is that for some reason, like when he was on Alpha Flight, he flew really fast. Then he had light powers with his sister, and then they tied him a little bit with Magik. Then he gets incorporated to the X-Men, and for some reason he doesn't fly. They make him out to sort of like he's running or he flies really low to the ground. It's really weird. It's like, why, if you're going to keep him close to the ground, why not use Quicksilver? It's just really odd. It's sort of like they just needed a gay character on the X-Men. I have no problems with that. Make him fly. It's cooler. But so weird. He got folded into the team during the Chuck Austin era, which was really terrible. The rest of the team, we got Dazzler. We got another new character called Trance. She's also pretty cool. So they get into Limbo, and immediately the shit hits the fan. Everything's really terrible. There's actually a crossover prior to this that sort of explains the situation called Infernus or something like that. So what happens? Obviously, the X-Men go in. They're going to try to find their teammate, Magik. But Limbo actually corrupts everything. Like the more time you stay there, like the more corrupted that you get. So Gambit, who's dealing with his whole death persona, immediately flips and turns into a bad guy and tries to take over Limbo on his own. North Star also flips because prior to this, he was brainwashed by the Hand. He got killed by Wolverine. He flipped into the Hand. So he goes to the dark side too. And for some reason, Dazzler, I have no idea why, but she also flips and becomes a villain. So we have that whole thing with the rest of the team, Cannonball, Chameleon, and Trance, trying to stay alive and fight against Gambit. Also Nastir, a classic demon from Limbo, pops up and tries to get Pixie to kill Magik and get the Soul Sword. And also Sim, another classic demon from Limbo. So basically what happens is the whole story, outside of the corruption of Gambit that we see here, is that even though Pixie has an axe to grind with Magik because he lost a part of her soul in the prior story, she forgives her. She's willing to give her a chance. Pixie saves Magik's life. She shows she's the bigger person. Obviously, they're able to take down and defeat the demons. They knock sense into Gambit. But it's just this particular story, even though it doesn't have a lot of weight to it in general, like narratively, it's just really fun. The art is it's a real treat. It sort of closes off the whole story arc between Magik and Pixie. Again, Pixie, I think she's a pretty interesting character, and it's sad that she's totally missing nowadays. So I'm going to leave it here. I hope you guys like this video. See you guys next time.